Hi everyone, welcome to Migrant Dr. Mom. In today's video, I'll be talking about the Australian citizenship process, and I will be talking about the eligibility application process. If you're somebody that has been considering becoming an Australian citizen, or it's something that you've been researching about and don't know how the process is, then this video is for you. Sit back and we'll go through the various processes, the eligibility process, and also briefly touch on the application process on how to become an Australian citizen. If you're watching me for the very first time, my name is Anna, and I'm glad you could find time to join me. And if you're my returning subscriber, thank you so much, and thank you for your ongoing support. So, the process of applying for citizenship process in Australia, generally there are lots of benefits that are associated by being an Australian citizen, and therefore it is no-brainer that everybody that comes, or majority of people that come to Australia, their desire is first to be a permanent resident and then hopefully become an Australian citizen, and in that way then they can experience the benefits that are attached to being an Australian citizen. Part of the benefits are essentially the fact that you get to call Australia your home, whether your first home or your second home. But also the other thing is the fact that you can live here and on sort of unlimited time frame. You can acquire property. You can get benefits that are associated with living in Australia, and at the same time, then you can get an opportunity to participate in the voting process that happens in Australia as an Australian citizen. How do you become an Australian citizen? There are various ways that you can become an Australian citizen. The first one is citizenship by birth. So if you are born in Australia to at least one of your parents being an Australian citizen, then you can apply to be an Australian citizen by birth. The other one is by naturalization, which a lot of the migrants utilize this pathway. So this is citizenship by Conferral. So essentially for you to live in Australia, if you're from another country, it's essentially you need to have lived in Australia for 4 years at least, and at least one of those years you should have been on a permanent resident. And then the other thing is by descent. So that is essentially if one of your parents, let's say you're born overseas, but one of your parents is an Australian citizen, then you can become a citizen by descent. So, what is the basic eligibility criteria for one that is hoping to become an Australian citizen? And obviously it will depend on what pathway or what process you're using. So obviously by birth it's different, by Conferral it's different, and by descent as well. But generally you will need age is a factor. If you're 18 and above, you can apply directly. But if you're less than 18, then you need parental consent. And then the other thing is, like I've already mentioned, you need to have lived in Australia for 4 years, with at least 1 year being a permanent resident. And then there's an element of language efficiency. So you should be proficient in English language. And this can be either via doing one of the proficiency tests. And then character is very key. In the Australian government or the application processes, you realize that having a good character is one of the key things. So if you've been involved in any crime, they will be asking for those things. They will be asking for police clearance. They'll be asking for some of those things just to ensure that your character is good. And then obviously after that, you will need to pledge your loyalty to Australia by doing either by attending a ceremony and pledging your loyalty to Australia. So what's the application process for one to become an Australian citizen? So like I always say, preparation is key for anything that you're doing. Fast preparation is very, very key. So number one, what do you need to prepare? You need to prepare your documents. So some of the documents that are needed or that are essential when you're applying for citizenship in Australia, you need your passport. Passport is very key. And for kids, you need a birth certificate. If you're married, you may need a marriage certificate. You may need death or divorce certificate. And then you need to provide some form of proof of residence. So where you're staying, that can be in the form of a bill, that can be in the form of, you know, a water bill, a utility bill, or your water rates or your rates bills and stuff like that. So you need to provide that as part of your requirements. And then the next thing after that is you need to complete a form. And I have done another video extensively on the process or the application process of getting an Australian citizenship. Please look out for that video. I'll leave a link in the description. But the application form is quite straightforward. The manual one, I like it because it's color coded. You know what to, you know, it's really straightforward process. You really don't need a lot of help doing it. If you can, yeah, if you need help, that's different. But it is a straightforward application process and filling the form. And then after that, you'll need an application fee for that. And then you need to submit application online or via paper. And then after that, if you're successful, then you'll be requested to attend a citizenship test. So the citizenship test or the interview, it's essentially, I don't know, it's quite a simple thing to do. When you put in your applications, you'll be sent some information that you need to cover. Essentially, it's just to know a little bit about Australia, about the Indigenous people, the flag, what the federal state does, what the Commonwealth does, and stuff like that. So the differences and the function of who does what, and generally, you just need to know about, a little bit about Australia. What are the native animals? What are the, just generally, it's quite a straightforward test that anyone can do it. I think from memory, I did it for 1 minute. So it's something that you can easily do it. And part of the interview, of course, will be providing your documentation initially for the little interview, providing your documentation, showing who you are. They'll ask you a few little things there. And then after that, you will go to the computer and do your test, which I must say again, it is quite a simple test. Don't fret about it. It's quite simple to pass. And then after that, after you finish the test, I think you need to pass by, is it 80% or something? You need to pass it. And then after that, you await for, after you pass the test, then you have to wait for the results. And then once you get an approval, once you get an approval, then you wait to be invited. You wait to be invited for a citizenship ceremony, and you are not an Australian citizen until you have attended your ceremony and you've taken an oath and given or provided your allegiance to Australia. Okay? You have to do that. That's the last bit of doing that. And then it is during the ceremony that you're going to get your Australian citizenship certificate. So the whole process is quite straightforward. If you have any questions, just let me know and I can answer them in the comment section. Generally, the application fees are about $495 and then dollars, that's Australian dollars, and time frame can vary. If you provide all your documentation in one go, do it really nicely, it can take up to 2 to 6 months for you to get through the entire process. And then for the invite to the citizenship ceremony, just depends on where you live. And that can take up to about 12 months for it to come through. And before you realize it, you're going to be an Australian citizen. So thank you so much for watching me. I hope this has been helpful. And if there's any area that's not clear, please remember to comment, and I will endeavor to address your questions. Otherwise, remember to like this video, share it so that we can grow the family. And thanks again for being here.